Okay, this is just a copy of a copy. This is what happens to a family that has gone to the trouble of trying to bring some honesty to a government or private department. Here's my son Michael walking out the back to the smoking area. He's waiting for a taxi. He has noticed a couple of policemen come in. They generally give him a hard time, so he's getting out of the way so he can get home. There's the police gentleman. Can't seem to find him. Not again. In 1985 I was a machinery inspector in the Forest Department of the state government. I was given the job of sorting out a multi-million-dollar tender for chainsaws for the state stores. I had a chainsaw instructor and a small plant mechanic to help out, and we tried to do our best to give a fair response. When I submitted my findings after a week of testing, I was told that the department wanted a different saw. I explained that that was totally unfair, and if they wanted a certain saw they should have written the tenders to suit. When I asked about this, I showed them how to do it, as I had assisted a senior plant inspector the year before buying gear for the China deal. I'm led to believe Michael's finishing his drink, that he's told these fellows he's going home. They take his beer off him, look around to see if anyone's watching. He says, I've got to go to work tomorrow, so they grab him, put him in handcuffs, break his, well, they can't, I'm not allowed to say if they broke his finger apparently, but it's bent out of shape and he can't get it back in place again. The tenders I did were probably a handout issue, and also the saws cost 3 times as much as my recommendation. The government pay system, of course, is the more money you handle, the more pay you get. Here's a young lady coming in on the other side, asking what's going on. I believe she said, what's happening here? He's done nothing wrong. Long story short, I was forced to leave my job for being too honest. In doing this, my lungs went bad from stress and dust mite, the latter because I was told I had to work in a dust-filled room. The guy in charge also needed a 1.6 to get a pay rise. I was only a 1.4. In order to keep my family together and to make money, I bought a small postal agency in Ilfracombe, which is now Longreach Shire, of course. All was going okay until the Bureau of Statistics asked me to help sort out the electoral roll. I didn't realise that the council was paid so much per person in the Shire by the federal government. By the time I had finished, the electoral roll was cut greatly for the number of council claims lived there. To get rid of my family, the council covered us in dust for 3 months. This served a double purpose, as it also made more money for the council. The trucks would bring the sandstone into town from about 40 miles away and drop it in front of our house. The loader driver spent all day lifting the sandstone and dropping it to cover the house in dust. This was a good money spinner, as if they did the stockpile where they were doing the job, it would have not cost as much. From bringing it into town and then taking it out again, the trucks were doing about 40 times the mileage. Once again, the more money they handle, the more pay they get. Here's the other manager coming in. He wants to know what's going on. They said, what happened to that bloke? The vendetta to get rid of my family didn't just affect us. There were a lot of people in Ilfracombe developed respiratory problems over this malicious act. I know of one lady that died of asthma soon after we were forced out of town. Sadly enough, this lady was mother of the loader driver. I finished up in Kingaroy Hospital for a week and my youngest son actually stopped breathing. I was lucky his friend found him and was able to get him to Longreach Hospital in time to revive him. You could say these local councils and the federal government have been lying to the public for years. Well, everybody's back to normal. The publicans had a look, seen what's going on. My son goes to the lockup where they give him a pretty hard time. Pity there was no camera there. We've sat here in Proston now for 21 years getting death threats and malicious damage because of this, and we found out last year it's all because of the then Wondai Council crew who now run the Kingaroy Shire. My wife was thrown in a mental home just so they could have an extra patient for their private hospital, and as I say, we've been getting death threats for 21 years. I think it's time this sort of nonsense stopped. This business with Michael is just the last thing as far as I'm concerned.